Australian Aviation Podcast, the official podcast of Australian Aviation, unpacking the latest insights, developments and issues impacting Australia's aviation sector.
Hello and welcome to the Australian Aviation Podcast. I am back here in the studio, Jake Nelson, your host, and with me, of course, is my co-host, the deputy editor of Cyber Daily and renowned beige hat hacker, David Hollingworth.
Look, you got to walk the line sometimes.
As Johnny Cash probably said.
Something like that. First draft, obviously.
I am back from my trip to Canberra and Melbourne, and here with us in the studio is someone who is also back from a trip, our Defence and Aerospace lead, Steve Kuper, who was just over in California.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, David. First-time listener, long-time caller.
Outstanding. Also, like 3 years in the company. It's the first podcast we've done together.
Yes. Well, 3 years this stint, yes.
This stint, of course. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, can't get rid of me.
So, Steve, you were over in California doing what?
I was over in California visiting what can be described as American defense upstart firebrand.
Oh, like upstart, not startup.
Yes,
Yeah.
Upstart.
That's a good description.
Well, look, for most of the big primes, Anduril is, or Anduril.
And Tolkien fancier, don't forget that one.
Yeah, Anduril is considered very much a defense upstart.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Was lucky enough to meet Palmer Lucky. No alliteration attempt there at all.
Was he wearing a Hawaiian shirt?
He was wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Outstanding.
Yes. Yeah, and he's everything you imagine him to be.
and more and less
more.
at the same time.
Yeah. Yes, it was an interesting trip to their headquarters in Costa Mesa in Orange County.
Yeah. What are they working on right now? Well, what aren't they working on? What were you there to see?
What aren't they working on is an interesting one. There isn't much that they're not working on. A lot of counter-drone surveillance, both kinetic and soft kill options. And they are currently spinning up the US Air Force's version of the Loyal Wingman, which is our MQ-28 Ghost Bat. They are working on the YFQ-44A. Which is designed to operate alongside US Air Force F-15.
This is an uncrewed
EXs.
aerial vehicle.
Yes,
It's all part of that digital wingman kind of thing.
Yeah. So it'll operate in conjunction with their frontline combat aircraft, and that's currently undergoing ground trial testing and rapidly accelerating towards flight testing with the US Air Force, and they will be built out of a facility in Ohio that's currently under construction called Arsenal 1. And upon completion, this facility will employ between 4,500 and 5,000 people.
Wow.
So for people who said that automation is going to do away with people in manufacturing,
Someone still has to make the robots.
Yeah. Well, not only that, as they said to me, but why would we put a human in a mundane role that can be done by a robot when they can provide the far higher value add componentry, test and evaluation, all of those sorts of things.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting trip and really good insight into a company that's rapidly reshaping the defence landscape.
And not just abroad, but here in Australia
Australia as well. Yeah, they've just won a $1.7 billion contract with the Royal Australian Navy.
Oof.
Yeah, so making moves in a big way.
Yeah.
And when you were flying over there, you flew over on one of these puppies,
I
the
did.
Qantas A380.
I did. It's not my first time on an A380, but it's my first time. Oh no, it's not my first time on a Qantas A380 either. But no, it was a beautiful experience. I was lucky enough to be in premium economy. I had a little bit of extra leg room.
Premium economy on the A380s is really lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Never been in premium economy on an A380, only in regular economy. But it was with Emirates and Singapore, so
which makes it still pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic opportunity. My only criticism of premium economy is that the sections in between the seats don't come down or move.
The armrests.
The armrests. Yeah. So
great video.
When you're as lucky as I was on the way over to have a whole row to myself,
you can't lie on it.
I can't lie on it.
Oh, that's the worst. Because come on, that is the best thing when you're flying. When you get in and you see them closing the doors and those seats next to you aren't filled. You're like, yes.
Yeah. I've had that joy in a premium economy economy X on a Virgin flight.
Nice.
When I was coming back from Perth, so that was nice.
I will say though, still not my best sleep on an aeroplane.
Ah, yes, you have mentioned this to me. This is a great story.
Yeah, my best sleep on an aeroplane is in the paratrooper seat of a Canadian Air Force C-17, which was absolutely unbelievable. Best sleep I had from Brisbane to Darwin, and then from Darwin to a test range in WA, and then back across to.
What made it so good? Like, was it just a comfy seat? Was it the drone of those big engines? Were you tired beforehand? Like, what
No,
made
I
it so
wasn't
good?
tired beforehand. I don't know. I think it was just
But a paratrooper seat on a C-17.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what a paratrooper seat is, what is a paratrooper seat?
Look, they're not designed for comfort. They're basically a bit of mesh in between.
I thought that might be the case.
Coming soon to a Jetstar plane near you. Yeah.
Yeah, stacks of them, like 3 deep.
Yeah. Basically just like a sheet of mesh with your life jacket and stuff underneath, and
no frills, and you were just like,
yep,
slept like a babe.
Yep. I had a really good night's sleep, or a really good afternoon sleep.
Yeah,
sitting upright against the rear wall or the side wall of a C-17
with that massive rumble of the engine coming straight through to your spine. That's probably what did it.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Now, on the subject of defense, we know that you've got to get moving in a bit, but we do have some new Apaches apparently that have arrived for the Army.
Yes, the first of the Australian Army's 29, which is an odd number to buy, really. You would have thought they'd go to 30. But yeah, we've had the first of Australia's 29 Apaches arrive, and they will be joined in the not too distant future by the next batch, which are continuing to roll off the Boeing production line in Arizona, and they will be replacing the beleaguered and much maligned ARH Tigers.
How old are they?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they came into service in 2007.
Okay, so
They're not that old.
I mean, yeah, because the Apache's no spring chicken, as it were, either.
Well, no.
But this is the latest flight.
But yes, yeah. We're not getting the 1989 issue Apache. We are getting the latest, the Guardian.
Yeah.
Which are an impressive bit of capability.
I'm looking at the article here, and it took me a while to work out what's wrong with the image, and the rotor's unattached.
Yes.
And once you notice it, it's like, wow, that is the weirdest looking thing.
Yes, yeah, they are, aren't they?
And it makes sense they wouldn't be shipped without the rotors attached, of course. So what is the current doctrine for us using the Apaches? Because I know recently there's been a lot of talk about whether attack helicopters even have a role in modern combat. So doctrinally, where do they fit into what we're doing?
Well, was that what Elon was talking about, or was he talking about helicopters?
He was talking about drones, I think.
And fighter aircraft, which, that's a whole separate kettle of fish. But I think one thing that a lot of people aren't accounting for, particularly when it comes to drone swarms, is that given the size of these drones, pardon me, they're still very susceptible to electronic countermeasures.
Mm-hmm.
So Australia operates 12 of the E-18G Super Hornet-based Growler electronic attack aircraft.
Yep.
And they were used to great success in Libya, where they one aircraft could essentially kill the entire country's electrical network, and any form of communications device was fried.
Yep.
So I think there is a little bit of an overestimation of the death of crewed fighter aircraft or fighter aircraft in general. And yeah, that's the reason why, because the electromagnetic capabilities that the West has in particular are very, very potent.
Mm-hmm.
What's the new Apaches going to do for the Army that the Tigers, can't?
Work.
That's fair.
Succinct answer.
Yeah, work. They are apart from working, they are going to provide the Australian Army with a capability that is realistically second to none when it comes to close air support. I would personally like to see like a modern version of the Ju-87 Stuka, but I think the closest we've got,
complete with the horn.
Complete with the horn.
It's people
Jericho
who love
horn.
military aircraft who are listening to this podcast right now. Your time has come.
They're in for a treat. Yeah.
I think the closest we've gotten is the A-10 Warthog, but sans the
horn.
Jericho siren. But they will provide the Australian Army with a really potent close combat capability that will support our new Abrams Set V1, Set V2, whatever it is, the latest version of the Abrams, as well as our Redback infantry fighting vehicles and the Boxer combat reconnaissance vehicles. So that's an important piece of the combined arms maneuver.
It really is that complete combat solution, basically.
Yeah, and to your question, David, they are being rapidly modernized to serve as delivery platforms for, I don't want to say more dumb munitions.
Because we know that in Ukraine, Russian attack choppers are basically used as glide bomb delivery systems. They'll pop up, you lob a bomb over the,
So that's what we're going to start seeing fielded. The Apaches in the US are starting to be testing Switchblade 600s.
Gotcha.
So they're, for people who aren't familiar, they're a loitering munition. And they will the developments there will rapidly filter out to the likes of Australia and Taiwan and South Korea and the UK, all operators.
So acquiring these is a real future-proofing option for the Australian
it is. There's
Defence
been a
Force.
lot of criticism around it that, it's to your point earlier, it's a 40-year-old aircraft. But the reality is that
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Or keep fixing it, because that's how you design the
Design
platform to work anyway.
Right,
If there's one thing that the US has been great at, is building these platforms they can just continually expand upon.
Yeah. There was a great deal of modularity built into it, and that's part of Anduril's design philosophy as well, that we don't know what the technology coming down the pipe is going to be, but we will design it to be open and flexible enough that from anything from advances in car battery technology to advances in microprocessing and componentry like that, they can pull out, put it in, and away
and just
it
have
goes.
a frame that's just waiting for the next upgrade.
Yeah. And then a lot of that is software enabled, open systems architecture enabled, and that's the way of the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, fascinating stuff, Steve. We know you are a busy man, so we will let you get going. But we'll be back with the Australian Aviation Podcast right after this. All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Australian Aviation Podcast. Jake Nelson here with David Hollingworth. Our special guest, Steve Kuper, has departed because, as we said before the break, he is a busy man.
Lots of wars to win, that man.
Lots of wars to win. But, we are busy men here too, because I've been off for the last week, and so there's some news to catch up on. And David, bit of your area of expertise. It's the gift that keeps on giving, the Qantas hack. What's the latest?
Well, okay, so this is a saga. I'll try and keep this the Cliff's Notes version.
Previously on the Australian Aviation Podcast.
I should have brought my hoodie up so I could look all hacker-like. So over the weekend, the hackers scattered Lapsus Hunters, who are a conglomeration of different hacking groups linked to various things in that name.
Now, do they hunt scattered lapsuses, or are they scattered and hunt lapsuses?
Look, the jury's out and all that. As far as I can tell, they hunt each other whilst they're calling each other horrible racist names on Telegram. But I'll get to that one in a bit. Anyway, they promised to, on Friday, we are going to leak midday, New York time, all of the data, including Qantas. They didn't, because the FBI actually grabbed their ClearNet site, and it's got the FBI badges all over it.
And the ClearNet site, for the uninitiated, is
the ClearNet is what everybody looks at. If If you read Australian Aviation, that's where you read it on the ClearNet site. However, their darknet site, which is hosted on the Tor network, much
Should we get on that? Should Australian Aviation have a dark website as well?
No.
Could get a whole new audience out.
I guess, I don't know. There's a business opportunity there, maybe. Let's talk upstairs about it.
Dark aviation. Show me the forbidden planes. Sorry, continue.
Only planes. And so they
eventually some of our readers would probably be really into that.
All over that. But yeah, so they eventually got around to posting it to their darknet leak site, which immediately crashed. Mm-hmm. They spun up another ClearNet site where they published the data there. So much drama. So just a little bit of background. A lot of security experts refer to what's called advanced persistent threats, or APTs. These are things like long-going hacking operations, nation-state-backed operations, or financially motivated criminals like these guys, who are big enough to be called an advanced persistent threat. One security analyst has started to refer to these guys as advanced persistent teens. Uh-huh. And my watch, more accurately, is going off right now because they're all having one big hissy fit of an argument on their Telegram channel, and they're just trading insults regardless. It's so embarrassed to be owned by these guys, but there you go. The data was published. We can't talk about that because of the injunction that Qantas took out. So we can only say it's been published. We can only say what the hackers claim it is, which is exactly what Qantas said it was. Names, frequent flyer details, all of that. 5.1 odd million. However, as of today, the hackers have removed it. No one knows why. The data just isn't there anymore. On their forum, a lot of people who want to access the data are going, yo, bro, where's the data? Yo, where is? Yeah, it's the weirdest, lamest thing. And it's such a weird timeline to be talking about a bunch of teenage idiots with too much time on their parents' computer causing so much angst around the world. But there we are. Qantas data is out. Qantas is aware of it. Qantas is warning its customers to be aware of scams because obviously if you get an email that has your frequent flyer number, your name, all that stuff with Qantas branding, it's going to look remarkably like a legitimate Qantas email, and then they could harvest any number of any other kind of data points.
Well, look, for our listeners whose data might have been compromised and whose data may or may not be in this giant leak that these idiot teenagers have put out on the internet, what should you do?
You should change all your passwords. Make sure all your passwords are unique. Even better than that, upgrade to passphrases. I don't know. I heart Jake Nelson .1974, something like that. Yeah.
Make all of that your passwords immediately.
All of that. All of you now. It'll be fine. No one will know. Wherever possible, use multi-factor authentication. And if you start getting weird emails from a trusted brand, compare it to previous emails you got. I was doing that just today with one of my colleagues. We were discussing whether or not this particular Qantas email address was legit. And it looks weird because it's QantasFF@e.something. I had a look at my previous emails from the Qantas frequent flyer program, and yeah, all those emails are legit. So just do a little bit of due diligence, and you should be fine. New password, multi-factor authentication, and just use some common sense.
And what about these fancy new pass keys that everyone's talking about?
Pass keys are funky, but it's literally that. A key you can plug into a computer. It has biometric information linked to you. Only you can use it, plug it in, and it's great. I think we have them enabled on Cyber Daily, actually. Funnily enough, I don't use pass keys.
Oh, yeah?
I hate to admit.
But you can turn your phone into a pass key or something, can't
you? You can. Again, it requires a little bit more software on the phone, and you can get it set up. Don't do as I do, because I'm lazy when it comes to this, and I shouldn't be, because I'm a cybersecurity journalist by trade. But there are a lot of things you can do. Pass keys, strong passphrases, multi-factor authentication, yeah.
And what are the next? What would you assume the next steps would be for Qantas?
Well, I know that they are continuing to harden their systems. They're continuing to work with the Australian Federal Police and the Australian government. As far as I can tell, they're doing everything you would expect of a company that size to harden its systems. You also need to remember that the systems that got compromised weren't even Qantas systems. It was the Salesforce instance they'd spun up somewhere in Manila. So cybersecurity isn't as simple as securing your own backyard. You've got to secure the backyard of your neighbors and the people the next street over if you have any kind of engagement with them. But Qantas seems to be doing all of that.
Well, there you go. So change your passwords, use passphrases, use pass keys. and make your password something about me. It'll be fine. Now, on the subject of Qantas, we do have some bad news, some more bad news from Qantas. Qantas Link, specifically, you may recall a couple of weeks ago we were talking about these 3 Qantas Link bases that were under review in Hobart, Canberra, and Mildura. Well, Qantas announced at the start of this month. Again, we're doing this a week or two behind because I've been away. I flew Virgin, by the way, in case everybody's wondering. And yes, I did use my travel hack on the way back of checking in a little bit later than usual so that I could get that free upgrade to an exit row seat. Check in a little later than normal, see if they've got exit row seats. Works for me some of the time. Anyway, Qantas Link, they are closing down. They have confirmed their pilot and cabin crew bases in Hobart. Hobart. Yes, they're closing their base in Hobart. Hobart, Canberra, and Mildura in April 2026. Around 70 employees will be moved to bases in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Qantas Link CEO Rachel Yangoyan said, quote, consolidating our crew bases so we have more of our pilots and cabin crew flying out of our major airports will enable us to deliver a more reliable service for our customers. This will help us better respond to disruptions and improve reliability across our regional network. She said, we have dozens of new aircraft joining the Qantas Link fleet in the coming years. This decision will help us provide customers with opportunities to fly to more destinations and benefit from more frequencies across our regional network. Importantly, relocating to these jobs to other bases will not impact any of our flying into Canberra, Hobart, and Mildura. Now, staff members will be given support packages that will assist with, either commuting or relocation costs. But as you can imagine, Transport Workers Union is not happy. They have pointed to their survey, which we discussed a couple of weeks back, showing that 68% of affected workers would consider leaving the airline if the closures went ahead. Emily McMillan, the National Assistant Secretary, said the axing will have life-changing effects on pilots and cabin crew who were told their jobs in these bases were safe and who made significant decisions on that assurance. She said, quote, these crew are now in a position of having to choose between family and career because Qantas continues to put exorbitant profits over people. Andrew Wilkie, Tasmanian MP. Who
bless him.
Yeah, I believe his electric covers Hobart. He said that it is a terrible blow to the staff. Many with families who relocated to Hobart in good faith have partners in local jobs, are building homes, and have their children in local schools. Passengers and freight service quality will inevitably affect.
I like this next one a lot, and I want to do this one myself. Yeah. Turns out the Flying Kangaroo doesn't regard Hobart as an Australian capital city. Look, honestly, a lot of Australians don't either. Nor has it changed its HR culture since being found guilty of illegally sacking thousands of staff. I mean, he's kind of not wrong.
Yeah, it's look, giving relocation packages is all well and good, but as Emily McMillan says, what if your partner has got a job working in Hobart or Canberra and Mildura? Are you going to expect the families of these, they do, it's either a commute or relocate. So how can you expect the families
and
of
it's not as simple commute either.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hobart to Melbourne is still like what?
Getting from Marrickville to North Sydney is a hard enough commute. I mean, that's ludicrous.
So it's Mildura to Melbourne. Who would be moving to Brisbane? Imagine commuting from Hobart to Brisbane every day.
Oh, Lord. I mean, you get to read a lot of books, though, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like It's one thing to expect your staff members, single staff members to relocate. If you're single, maybe you can relocate more easily. But if your partner has a job,
your kids are in school,
the families of these employees are also having to uproot their entire lives.
If the local cocktail bar has gotten your martinis just right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the horrors.
Yeah, so it's not just, it's having a knock-on effect on so many different people.
Yeah.
And it's, I think viewing all of this as numbers on a spreadsheet is a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
It may like speed up some services in the bigger bases, sure, but like this is the lives of what 70 around 70 direct employees and
their families and their networks and the jobs that all those family members are involved in, the school networks, the friendship groups, the communities that they become a part of and enmeshed in. No, absolutely. I think it's not a great look for Qantas.
No, it isn't. And I think the government itself was, putting in a sort of a last minute plea to Qantas, please do not close these bases, but in vain. So wag of the finger to Qantas on this, as Stephen Colbert might say, because it's not fun. It's not fun to have to uproot your entire life for work. I'm thankful that I have never had to do it. We're keeping on the major airlines here because we had a story the other week which revolved around tax season, which everybody loves.
I'm looking at the headline, tax-free years coming to an end for the major airlines. Walk me through that one.
So what's actually happened is these airlines, the major airlines, a lot of them, Qantas and Virgin, have had basically carried over losses from the COVID years.
Oh, I see.
So when you post a loss, like when you have a business loss, you can write it off on your taxes. And so with Qantas and Virgin, they both had big losses during the height of the pandemic, and Virgin especially, because Virgin actually went into administration, and so these carried over losses have been offsetting income tax requirements for Qantas and Virgin in the years since. Now, this was for the 2023-24 financial year, because this is the transparency report that the ATO puts out every year, the corporate tax transparency report, which covers the previous financial year. In 23-24, Qantas exhausted its pandemic-related carryover losses and paid $24 million in tax in the latter half of the year. And Virgin says it expects to begin paying income tax again this financial year, so 25-26, once its own carryover losses have run out. Back in 22-23, neither airline paid income tax due to the massive losses, though they still paid other taxes, or collected other taxes, GST, aviation-specific taxes like the passenger movement charge, Virgin. There was Australian and foreign consumption taxes, again, GST, VAT, Samoan income tax, fringe benefits tax, PAYGW, stamp duty, various ticket taxes. So there were taxes being paid by the major airlines, but they weren't being taxed on their income.
Which is the major part of their money, right?
Yeah. So Virgin says that Virgin expects to be paying corporate taxes, and Qantas says that its tax burden is going to go up quite a bit in 2025. So it's an interesting. I mean, on the one hand, it's sort of hard to blame them because it is available, and if you did record huge losses during the height of the pandemic and the closures and everything, that is available to you to sort of write stuff down. But at the same time, Qantas especially posting gigantic profits, right? Yeah. So it's it is.
I don't feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
So, tell us what you think, because that system is there. And, if you run a small business or anything, your losses are available to carry over to offset your income tax. So, small business owners can take advantage of that as well. But what do you think of these carryover losses? Let us know. Tell us what you think.
And also, let's not forget, as we mentioned previously, this is the airline that was found to have illegally laid off all that staff.
Yeah.
While also not paying tax. It's like they've just got benefits left, right, and center.
Yeah, but it's like, again, this is not special treatment that they were getting, being able to carry over the losses. Any business can do it. If you guys are interested, by the way, in total in 2023-24, across all 4,110 companies listed in the ATO's report, combined total of $95.7 billion in corporate income tax. And the biggest single tax bill was from Rio Tinto at $6.3 billion.
The resources sector.
Yes, the resources sector. So that was the state of the nation in taxation for corporate aviation. There we go.
Hey, well done. You stuck the landing on that one.
Yeah, I did. Which is something you always want to do
in the airline sector,
in the aviation industry. Yes. We will be right back with more news right after this. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. This is the Australian Aviation Podcast. Jake Nelson here with David Hollingworth of Cyber Daily, my loyal wingman as we
Yes, I am in fact your loyal wingman
my
on
ghost,
the podcast.
My ghost bat.
Your ghost, the ghost bat to your F-15 Raptor.
Yeah. Probably.
I feel uncomfortable about saying that.
I don't know. Am I more of a F-35A Lightning? I don't know what kind of... Get in the comments and tell me what kind of fighter jet you think that I would be. So we have spoken a fair bit about the major airlines. There's more stories that have come out over the past couple of weeks. Western Sydney Airport is about to mark a not insignificant milestone.
That's pretty impressive.
It's pretty impressive. The first jet aircraft is going to be landing at Western Sydney Airport later this month. So it will be a Rural Fire Service 737 large air tanker from the New South Wales RFS, N138CG Marie Bashir. And it's going to be taking part in this full-scale aerodrome emergency exercise on the 28th and 29th of October, which will include a simulated aircraft incident. And this is, of course, something that you need to do when you're opening a new airport. Now, how quickly and how well can the emergency services at the airport respond to something like a plane being on fire? For example?
Yeah. And also just using the airport itself as an emergency response hub and destination. Like this is stuff you want to get right first. Yeah, you want the passenger jets to land safely as well, but and also just getting the jet to land. Also want to interject for those who don't know, Marie Bashir was the 37th governor of New South Wales from 2001 to 2014.
I met her when I was in high school.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. She was a nice lady.
There you go.
So yes, there's going to be operational staff at the airport alongside 300 volunteers and emergency services partners, including RFS, New South Wales Police, Fire and Rescue. There'll be federal agencies, including Federal Police, Border Force, Air Services, who are going to be taking part in the exercise. The Transport Minister, Catherine King, says it's going to be a big moment for Sydney's new airport. It will ensure that WSI meets CASA certification requirements. She said, quote, "The runway and terminal are complete. Now testing is really ramping up. 737s are the most common plane in Australian skies and will be a mainstay on the runways and taxiways of Western Sydney International when it opens in the second half of 2026. It is exciting that New South Wales RFS firefighting jet Marie Bashir will be the first of many 737s touching down soon at Western Sydney International Airport." Now, sorry, you were saying?
No, it's just a weird thing. Like, for a long, long time, Western Sydney Airport has been this hypothetical thing. And even now that jets are about to start landing, it doesn't feel like it's a real place.
I mean, I've been there. I have been there and I've looked at I can confirm
it is real.
It is real. It's not and look, unless they knocked us out with some kind of gas and
some kind of hallucinogen.
Some kind of hallucinogen and sent us to an island and pretended it was an airport.
Yep. Much like your Honolulu trip.
Yeah, something like that. So unless all of that happened, I can confirm that it is a real airport that does exist. So that's exciting. Now, this is not the first official aircraft landing.
Okay.
There was a light aircraft, a Piper PA-30 twin engine, Comanche aircraft that did some test flights for the ground lighting system. So it took off and landed at both ends of the runway in daylight, dusk, and nighttime conditions to ensure the 3,000 aeronautical ground lights were fit for purpose. It was also not the first plane ever to land at That was not the first plane ever to land at Western Sydney Airport either. That was
Cherokee.
Cherokee made an emergency landing on the earthworks at the construction site in late 2020.
Just getting in early.
Yeah.
Someone desperately wanted to have that first.
Beating the rush. The baggage claim was...
Bit rough.
Yeah, it's delayed by several years.
Yeah.
But there you go. So that's the first jet aircraft that's going to land at Western
that's a
Sydney
remarkable milestone because, of course, getting a jet landing on your tarmac is very different to getting something like a prop-driven aircraft.
Exactly. So kudos to Western Sydney Airport. Kudos
almost there.
Yeah, kudos as well, by the way, to Newcastle Airport, which has secured yet another new route. I think Newcastle to Hobart.
Yes.
Which our colleague Rob ably held down the fort at Australian Aviation. Thank you, Rob, while I was away. Now, on the subject of planes, airports, and emergencies, there we go. There's a segue.
Ooh, yeah, okay, cool.
Rex.
They've had a great week, haven't they?
Yeah, 2 engine malfunctions on 2 different aircraft in the span of less than a week.
What do you think's worse? two engine malfunctions on two different aircraft or two engine malfunctions on the one aircraft?
Well, if they happen on the one aircraft during the same flight, then
that's
really
okay. You're right.
in
That's
trouble.
definitely worse. Yeah.
So we've had flight ZL4818 between Adelaide and Broken Hill. That had to be evacuated before takeoff following an issue with the left engine. This is from the ABC. There was a cockpit warning light. They rejected the takeoff, shut off the engine, and a small amount of unburnt fuel ignited for a brief period. Passengers and crew were evacuated. They were bussed back to the terminal, reaccommodated on alternative flights. Apparently, there was a pungent smell. It was getting hot. This passenger, Emma Lovis Hotchin, who was going to Broken Hill with her husband to their home, said that it got awfully hot very, very quick. So that was not great. That was not a great look for Rex.
Burning bad.
Yeah, and
that's my technical opinion right there.
This was, I think, a 29-year-old Saab 340B. And then on Saturday...
the Saabs. You got to love the Saabs.
Yeah.
God, I would hate to be on board one of those when that happens. It's so tiny. No wonder you could smell everything.
Well, another alarming incident, only days later on Saturday... a terrifying incident, according to one passenger, also a Broken Hill counsellor. Both flights to Broken Hill, by the way. I'm not sure if that.
Right.
Not
okay.
sure what can read
Note
into
to
that.
self: don't fly into Broken Hill anytime soon. It's okay. I wasn't planning to.
Yeah. So the right engine stopped midair after the passengers heard an unusual sound.
Cabin crew.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah, no, should it be doing that? Should it be doing that where that is nothing? So what happened was there was another cockpit warning light in the cabin, and the flight crew followed procedure and they switched the engine off. So the right engine stopped. The plane did not divert. It kept going to Broken Hill with one engine for what this passenger, Councillor Turley, estimated to be about an hour and a half.
That's a nerve-wracking hour and a half. And I know
nerve-wracking
technically that most aircraft are perfectly capable of flying with one engine, even multiple engines down.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of World War II documentaries. But still, sitting there watching this dead engine.
Yeah.
And occasionally just promising yourself, I'm not going to look at the other one. I'm not going to look at the other one.
Every time there was another noise, apparently she was thinking, oh God, what's happening to the other engine? So apparently it took like the pilots, according to Councillor Turley, 25 to 30 minutes to announce what was actually going on. And in the meantime, this plane is sort of limping low over the landscape to land in Broken Hill.
Yeah.
Now the aircraft did land normally in Broken Hill. Without incident, passengers were fine and the passengers on the other flight were fine. But look, it goes back to, again, Rex's fleet. It is
aging.
Yeah, like average age of, I think more than 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
And, I'm over 30 years and I'm still a spring chicken. But
I'm well over 30 years and I know that one of my engines is about to conk out. Don't worry about it.
In plane years, 33 is quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so... Again, this is one of the big issues that Rex is having with trying to find a buyer. And there's so many planes. Like we had, we spoke a few weeks back on the podcast. I don't remember if that was with you or with one of our other rotating guest Adams in the Game of Thorns. But regional planes. This was back in October. Have an average age of 4 to 9 years older than those on Capital City Services. The age of aircraft, according to Air Services Australia's Network Overview report, 15 years on average on Capital City routes, 19 on capital and non-capitals, and 24 on non-capital routes. So these planes are getting older and older, and there's replacements are hard to come by, and replacement parts are hard to come by.
Saab fleet basically sitting there as spare parts for what they do have in the air?
But quite possibly. Certainly they're sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah.
So it's possible that parts are being...
So you've got these aging airframes, which are of course needing more maintenance. You've still got the same maintenance crew, which means they're getting stretched. And of course you're going to get issues like this.
Well, and it's, people will say, and I've heard this before with things like Qantas, when Qantas engines have failed on sort of older planes. Oh, it's not the age of the airframe that matters, but the age of the engine, which is all well and good, but the engines are probably not the newest things on these planes either.
No.
I think it was Rob Walker from the RAAA who was saying that the engines on the Saabs are sort of the same kind of engines they use on Black Hawk helicopters or something like that in the US.
Oh wow, okay.
And from memory, Rob, if I misquoted you, I'm sorry, but it's like the same engines are being used in sort of military aircraft, and of course the US military gets first dibs on these engines.
Yeah, true.
And parts are hard to come by, and the older the plane gets, as well as there's more likelihood that something will go wrong, even if the engine is newer.
Engine could be fine, but some other part nearby could pack it in. A small piece of metal could. Yeah, it's all that kind of things which could impact what happens to the engine. That could be airframe related. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's what can we say?
It is what it is.
It's a problem that whoever buys Rex, because we still haven't had any firm answers on that. It's a problem that whoever buys Rex is going to have to deal with.
Yeah. It's an old saying from World War II. First time's an accident, second time's a coincidence, third is enemy action. So I guess we've got to wait to see what the third incident that if there is one that impacts Rex.
Fingers crossed.
That it doesn't happen.
Knock on wood.
Yes.
Now, speaking of older plane designs and newer plane designs,
yes.
We have about enough time to cover some rumors, exciting rumors that are coming out of Boeing, because apparently
they've made a plane that works.
Almost. They might be
almost
planning
made
to.
a plane that works.
So apparently, according to reports, I think late last month in the Wall Street Journal. The Boeing is working on a clean sheet replacement for the 737 MAX. Now, this would be an entirely new narrow body aircraft. According to the Wall Street Journal, Kelly Ortberg, who's the CEO of Boeing, met with Rolls-Royce officials in the UK earlier this year to discuss engine options. A person familiar with the plans said Boeing is designing a flight deck for a new narrow body. There's been a new senior product chief appointed for the commercial plane business, who in a previous role had designed new aircraft. Now, according to sources, the potential replacement for the 737 still in very, very early stages of development. And Boeing has said, and this was a spokesperson for Boeing, the company is focused on our recovery plan, including delivering on our existing backlog of nearly 6,000 commercial airplanes
Lord.
and certifying the new 737-7, 737-10, and 777-9 models. At the same time, as we've done over the decades, our team evaluates the market, advances key technologies, and improves our financial performance so that we will be ready when the time is right to move forward with a new product. That's what the spokesperson said. But this is as, by the way, Airbus has overtaken it in single-aisle orders. Since 2020, the A320 family has seen 4,540 orders compared to the 737 MAX family's 3,300 after adjusting for cancellations.
Yeah.
And we're seeing airlines like Qantas that have been using the 737s for ages are now moving, because the last podcast that I was here in the studio for, we were talking about the amazing whiz bang new A321 XLR.
Exactly.
Qantas moving to Airbus. It's got 48 A321 XLRs. Virgin is currently the only Australian airline operating the 737 MAX 8. Both it and Qantas fly the 737-800. I think Virgin also flies the 700. I don't think Qantas flies 700s. If I'm wrong, I will hear about it very loudly.
You will, yes, I guarantee it.
Yeah, there are currently 14 MAX 8s in the Virgin fleet. Virgin last year converted a number of the MAX 10 orders to MAX 8 because of ongoing delays. The MAX 10 still not certified as of that time last year. I don't know if it has been since then. But
it's an amazing fall from grace from Boeing, isn't it?
It is. It used to be if it ain't Boeing, we ain't going. But now if it's...
And, the 737 and that family of aircraft, they were synonymous with international or any just air travel in particular.
Not necessarily international, more domestic.
More domestic,
the 737 is narrow body. But, as Catherine King said, we heard earlier, the 737, the most common aircraft in Australia's skies, because both Qantas and Virgin, the bulk of their domestic fleet is 737s. Jetstar uses the A320 family. So it's, Boeing has... the 737 is like what, more than 50 years old as a design by this point. Like there's only so much juice you can squeeze out of that good old fashioned 737.
I mean, the thing is that most airframes in the air today are like seacraft, aircraft. These things are built with longevity in mind. You know, they're engineered to the nth degree. They're built to last because that's how they make money. Just Boeing has seemed to have forgotten how to build things to last.
Yeah, well, it's all because of the McDonnell Douglas thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So randomly, last year I was on holiday, and for the first time in my life, I took an ocean cruise on a very small vessel, which meant I got to meet some really
It was a 3-hour tour. Then you got stranded on an island, and there was
no professor, no Gilligan, no skipper. But I did catch up and have dinner with a couple of ex-Boeing engineers, and so I thought, oh hey, so Boeing's in the news lately. You used to work there, and how do you guys feel? They just looked at me stony faced, and I could tell like it's not the company we remember.
And then they both mysteriously fell off the ship later.
They're never seen again.
Yeah.
But yeah, they and then later as drinks started to flow, they got very, very vocal about, even from there, you know, these guys weren't seniors, but they've been engineers. That was their careers. They've retired. Now they sail around the world. But they said in their later lifetimes at the company, they could see the changes happening. They could see that quality that they were so proud of being thrown away. I just think it's quite remarkable.
Yeah. And like the last clean sheet aircraft that Boeing came out with was the Dreamliner, which was sort of mid-2000s that they announced that.
Yeah.
And that was plagued with problems at the start. And the Dreamliner, fine aircraft. Lovely aircraft.
Yeah.
Lovely aircraft and very nice to fly upon. But that's the last really new plane that they've come out with, because they've basically just been, you know, here's the 737 again, but a bit better. And now here's the 777 again, but a bit better. So a clean sheet plane, you know, getting away from the 737 design. It will be interesting to see what they do with that.
It feels like it might be like their last chance to go, we can still make an aircraft. We still can make a passenger jet. We still can make something safe that's not going to blow a safety plug on a door or strand astronauts in low.
Because, you know, Airbus has got the A320 Neo family, which is, you know, the A320 but a bit more. But they've also come out with things like the A380 and the A350 in the last couple of decades. And
so
Boeing,
I mean, look, no one likes to see a company fail at the degree Boeing's failing. It'd be great to see if they could put another good aircraft in the sky. Of course, watch this space.
Of course, one of the issues as well with, you know, designing new clean sheet aircraft is, you know, what if your customers who are, you know, have 737s on order or considering ordering 737s here that catch wind of this new aircraft and it's like, well, we'll just wait for that one.
Cancel. Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's tricky, and we might see some, you know, new entrants sort of muscle their way onto the stage to challenge the duopoly. I mean, you've got Comac over in China who are trying their little hearts out with the C919, and there's speculation, or, you know, people are saying that Embraer might be well placed to.
I think Embraer is in a good position to actually up its game into that area.
The main issue, I think, with a new Embraer, with a new Embraer sort of 737 A320 competitor would be money.
Yeah.
You know, they'd need to find someone with deep pockets to fund the thing. We've talked about this on the podcast before, but it's interesting times in the commercial plane manufacturing. Well, that's about all the time we have for the Australian
This is me ceremonially slamming my
slamming my laptop. Yep. That's about all the time we have for the Australian Aviation Podcast this week. We will be back next week with more valuable insights into the aviation world, and also, as Adam Thorne used to say, a whole lot more nonsense. But in the meantime, I am Jake Nelson.
I'm David Hollingworth.
See you next time.
Bye.